Well, hello and welcome to Little State Big Voices with myself, Shahidah, and my fabulous co host, Tracy, is not with us today. My girl is down and out, so it is me riding solo. Just Shahida, no fabulous co host. Nope, she's out sick, so I am carrying the torch for her while she's, not feeling too great, and hopefully we will see her next week. So many bugs going on around and so many people getting sick. I was a little sick on Friday myself. I was pretty much so out of it. Had the worst headache, worst stomach ache. It was just bad. But, I bounced back. Saturday, I started feeling better. And so I am back to myself and I have to get ready for tomorrow because I was supposed to wash my hair, do all the things to make myself feel better. Couldn't do it. Tired. Anyway, so Tracy is not here with us, and so we're just going to cover a couple of things. I know the Oscars is tonight after the BAFTA Awards 2 weeks ago, and then Michael B. Jordan winning the NAACP and the SAG Awards. We're hoping that he can keep that train going and win the big Oscar tonight. I am not going to be watching. I feel like every time I watch the Oscars, I'm rooting hard for one person, and I'm like totally disappointed. So I hopefully will wake up sometime later, see it in the morning that Sinners did do the thing and they got the awards that they so richly deserved. I did hear that there are a couple of other really good movies out there. The Leonardo DiCaprio, which I did not see. Tracy saw that. She said it was actually really good and that Sean Penn turned in a stellar performance. And I always liked Sean Penn. So he's going up against Delroy Lindo out of Sinners. And I don't know. I feel like Delroy, he's been in this game and he's had so many great films and he's always played that strong secondary character. So I would love to see him winning. And I want to know how many of you guys knew that he was actually Caribbean British. It took, I did not find that out. I mean, I've known now about maybe 10 years, but I was stunned when I actually did find out. So he is a favorite. And of course, Michael B. Jordan. I was never a big fan of Michael B. Jordan, but he has really proven to be really a high standard actor. And I know that we are living in the age of what's his name, Timothy Chalamet, and everybody just coos and ahs and all over him. But I've seen a couple of his films, and he's decent, but I'm not loving it. So compared to Sinners, that's all I'm saying. And then his performance compared to Michael B. Jordan in Sinners, which I just thought was fabulous. So, fingers crossed for him. I hope he takes it because he does deserve it. And it's not because of what happened at the BAFTAs either. He just deserves it. Both of them do. Definitely, Coogler definitely deserves Best Director and Best, I think a new category is Best Movie Ensemble, and he won that for Black Panthers. And so there's saying again that he'll probably win that for Sinners as well. And as an ensemble, as a group collective of actors, he definitely hits the spot with Black Panther and with Sinners. So great job in selection. But moving on, I did want to, I don't know if you guys are watching this new show on Netflix. Now, I actually just talked about this show with my old crew, Chris and Tanya, not too long ago and on my Still Dope podcast, and they love the show. And if you're unaware of the show, it's a new show on Netflix and it's called Age of Attraction, and they take a group of people who you cannot tell what their ages are. So there are, several contestants, and then after they make a connection with someone, they bring them to a promise room, and that's when they actually reveal their age to the person that they are connected with. And so in my opinion, there's a couple of problematic things with this show. One of them being there is a 60-year-old man, he's African American, dating this 27-year-old woman. I was stunned by it. So in the pods, not the pods, getting shows all mixed up, but in the promise room, she tells him that, she's celibate. She's, nervous about the situation. She's thinking he's like 40-ish or whatever, but he breaks it to her with that he's 60, and she has no problem with that. She asked him about children and if he would be interested in having children, and he really skates around it. Come to find out, he's a lawyer, but he really kind of skates around the question about like he wouldn't want any baby mamas, and he's just, if he's with somebody and they want children, he's definitely down for that. But he never mentions that he has children because he's 60 years old and he has two children, and I forget their ages now. This is when you need a partner to ring you in and say, oh, the age is this X, Y, and Z. But he has two children, and so he does not tell her that until after they leave the promise room and then they actually go live together. So this 27-year-old young woman is going to live with this 60-year-old man. And in my opinion, I hope some of you have watched it, and I would really love to hear what you think of it. But there was a lot of grooming going on in this show. And I felt the way he talked to her was very suggesting how she should actually answer the question, So I didn't feel them two as a couple. And she was saying that her dad was saying that she hope that she wouldn't bring home anybody that was older than him. And I think her parents, she said in the end that they were like 60, but before then she made it seem like they were probably in their, 50s or something. I mean, and it's still close, but 60 is a huge difference, and everybody was shocked that he was 60 years old. He does look decent for his not decent. Let me stop being a hater. He looks good for his age. He looks good. He's well groomed, well put together, not overweight. It's genetics. No, black don't crack unless you are like living a hard life that it actually shows that, oh, okay, this person is their age. He looks good. He looks decent. So I'll give him that. She's 27. I initially thought that she was like maybe 31, 32. And I mean, that's in that 3-year difference. But one of the things too, so there's another couple before I go into my last thought on this show. There's another couple, and he's 38 with two children. One daughter is 15, and I think another is 8. It's between 14 and 15. And the other one is like 7 or 8. And she's 22. 38 and 22. Now, he is constantly saying how mature she is for her age. The black guy saying that too. The women who are dating younger guys, they're all convincing themselves that these people are more mature for their age than they would have thought. But they are not. They are not more mature. They sound just like their age, period. There is a point when she's like the 22-year-old. She's questioning, like, I never thought of myself as being a stepmom, and how could I get it? That child, her stepchild is going to be, 5 years younger than her? Was it 20? She's like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 7 years. Yeah, I work in finance. I can't count. So, but yeah, she's 7 years. And no, that's her sister. That's her sister. That's not her stepmom. That is her sister. And he's dating her, and it just gives me the ick. And one of the things I said to my two besties on the Still Dope podcast was that I felt that in this day and age, I don't know who thought of this. I mean, it actually is a good idea. I mean, it's not like it's one of the worst show conceptions I've seen. I would just expect the ages to be closer. 10 years to me is a good cutoff. There's this woman who says she's 54. The guy she's dating is 27. It's a struggle for me thinking that this guy and this woman, my besties, they said that they love them as a couple. If anybody makes it, it's going to be those two. She has children that are maybe a couple of years younger than him, and then a couple of years older. I don't see how you, as a 54-year-old woman, introduce your children to a 27-year-old and your youngest is 2 years younger than that guy that you're dating. Gives me the ick. And I don't have a problem with people dating younger. I just feel like there should be a cutoff. And especially you see it more with the men, that the way they express themselves with these young girls, it just gives me manipulation. It gives me grooming tactics. And they make the young girl who's the 22, blonde, looks like she's from Miami or something, but young girl, somebody's baby. Somebody's baby. She seems, she's like, oh, she's always busting his balls a little. And he like, oh, she's just, I love her personality and how she's a freaking kid, sir. You have a daughter that is just 7 years younger than her. Do not like. So this show is on Netflix. I watched 3 episodes. I do not plan on watching anymore. No, that's a absolute no for me. And again, had they did it where the contestants, or whatever you call them, the daters, all like 10 years apart or something, I could get with that. But one other thing before I end it is that when they all were saying that, oh, I had no idea that you were that age because you're so mature. And when the black guy told the young woman that, he had children her age, because he didn't mention it the whole time that they were dating, that he had children her age, and made it sound like, if you wanted children, I want children too, because I only want children in a marriage. So I don't know if he was married before. He's just talking shit, because that's what it sounded like. But they didn't ask questions while they were supposedly dating. Because if you were asking questions to these 20-year-olds, you would have been able to suss out something about their age, especially the older woman who's like 54, and just now she's nervous about introducing this 27-year-old guy to her children. But what questions did you ask, ma'am? I mean, did you ask him how long he'd been at a job, how long he'd been in his career, if he'd ever been married, if he ever thought about marriage, kids, and all these things? Because he says at 27 he's not interested in having kids right now. Yeah, because you're 27. That's why you're not interested in having kids right now. So, duh. I just think this is like the worst premise for a show. I don't know who greenlit this. Again, it just gives me the ick. And I think, of course, in this day and age, when we have actual old ass politicians trying to lower the age of consent to 12, this is not a good look. And when we have all these, especially Republican men and these incel groups all trying to create this trad life, make that a thing, make that, a goal for young girls. And then seeing something like this where an older man gets to lay next to a very young girl, ugh. It's not good. I don't think it's good. Anyway, so that's on Netflix. Watch it if you dare. I will not be watching it again. I cannot watch it. It's horrible. But yeah, so another topic I was talking about all this week. We all know that the black girlies, the 92%, and our little allies is jumping on board, and we were boycotting Target. We boycotted Target because for many, many years, they were like, we are about that DEI life. We want to help all the different communities, all the different ethnic groups. We Target, and we were up in that store. And then they decide when Trump comes in, because Trump is like, ooh, we don't want DEI. We're not going to support that because this is not giving the white people the break that they need to be. Anywho, indeed, and you know what Target said? They said, you know what, we're not. So black women, we said we're not going to come back. We're done with Target. And that has been probably the biggest, most consistent boycott that we've had in the last couple of years. I feel like that is the most consistent that everybody jumped on board with, and especially black women, but there are a lot of allies that jumped on that as well. Then comes this week. Jamal Bryant. Well, you know what? Before this week, when after Black after this started rolling, somehow, some way, Jamal Bryant, who is a pastor, I don't know, out of what, Maryland? I don't know where the man is from. He became the face of the boycott for Target. Don't know how that happened, but it's always the case where black women start something and then it's the media. I don't know if it's the media. I don't know who it is, but they decide that they need a face for it. And usually, especially if it's some type of resistance, it has to be a black man. So he jumped up and he has become the face and the voice of this boycott. Even though he did not start this boycott, he jumped on the bandwagon. So he came out this week and he laid out some initiatives that Target was going to give a certain amount of dollars to some organizations, black organizations or whatever, but they didn't roll back their DEI. They didn't apologize for rolling back their DEI. There was really no concessions to that. But he said the fast is over. We can go back to Target. And black women collectively did a what? Sir, who are you talking about? Who are you talking to and who are you talking for? Because you're not talking for us. So there was a big thing this week about that. And I would love for you all to reach out in the comments and tell me what you thought about that and what you thought about Jamal Bryant without coming to the community, without coming to the table and saying, I mean, you're on all of these, social media sites. You didn't say that, oh, you were in talks with Target and that you all were coming close to a deal and this is what it is. And yo, folks, what do y'all think about this? That's being a leader. This was all done behind closed doors. No one was involved with these discussions except for him. And in my opinion, there was a check written, but it wasn't written to us. So somebody got something because he did this big announcement and a big Target sign was in the background. It looked like a really nice commercial to me, but we not getting nothing out of it. And so he did come back and he said, did you know, we ripped him a new one, and we did, because who are you to speak for us? And I did not listen to his apology. Other people did acknowledge it, but this is my problem. I have a problem with leaders like Jamal Bryant. I have a problem with these big pastors. I have a problem with the black church specifically, because I don't know about any other church, but black church specifically, when it comes to a pastor who is living far larger than the people that sit in the pews. Those people support him. And again, I know that Pastor Bryant was married to Giselle Bryant. She's on Real Housewives of Potomac. That sounded like it was a big mess. I don't know who his new wife is. I don't know. I can't totally clown the man like I want to, but still, I see an opportunist, and he comes off as an opportunist because he does things that, in my opinion, from what I've seen, across the board, that he talks the shady game. And that's what a lot of churches right now are. The big churches in Texas, what's it, Austin's church. And, these people are giving up a lot of their income to support these churches. And I need somebody to explain to me why. Please get in the comments and tell me, or come on our show if you are, a black parishioner, or even if you're a white parishioner, you want to talk about it. Tell me why these churches demand so much money and why money is tied to your salvation. I don't get it, because I don't think in the Bible that it gives a percentage of what your charity should be to your church or how much money you should. I don't think there's a percentage, but you tell me if I'm wrong. Again, don't read the Bible. I'm not a Christian. We all know that, but a lot of people in my family are. So I definitely respect their religion, and I definitely respect people who I feel are true believers, and their process is to do what they believe is the right thing to do. And I'm at the point now, I don't know if a church or if a cathedral or a temple or a mosque is all the time is the best place for you to get that message, because it's run by men, and men interpret things the way they want you to react to it, the way they want you to give to it. You really have to, in my opinion, with any religion, you have to think, does this ease my soul? Does this feed my soul? Does this give my soul peace? Those things. And maybe you get peace by getting a check for, $500 and giving the church $300. Maybe you get peace from that, but I don't think God wants anybody to suffer in giving, so much of their income to these churches so that a pastor could be in a $1,000 suit. I don't think so. That's just me. And, so please tell me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But as far as Jamal Bryant goes, not really feeling that dude. Not really feeling him at all. So anyway, so what else is going on? This is hard when it's just one person. Tracy, you can't do this no more. Don't get sick. But we are in week 3 of this Iranian war with Trump and Yahoo decided they wanted to wreak on the world. There's a lot going on there. Trump is constantly coming out and saying that, basically he's got Iran on the ropes and that they're begging him to do a ceasefire. And Iran is like, no, bro, we can say that. A little history lesson. America is a superpower when it comes to weapons. We invest in our military more than any other country. And this part of the reason why they have tried to convince us that we shouldn't pay attention to the other countries getting great health care. We need to invest in weapons. We are isolated. We are all the way away from the Middle East and Europe. We are isolated. And that makes us a little safer, a little more secure. I mean, you really, there's a long way you have to go to get to us. But here we are, we're by ourselves. So we don't think about war the way these other countries think about war. But America has not won a war since World War II. World War II. And remember, we came in at the very end of that war, and the rest of Europe had been fighting that for several years. But we came in at the tail end of it because of Pearl Harbor. Now, the thing with that is we've had several wars since then. Vietnam War, we've had Afghanistan. There's a couple more in that Asian area that we've had, and we've lost all of them. The biggest one being Vietnam. And the thing is, you can bomb people all day. You can bomb them all day. You can drop all kind of weapons. But the minute you step your foot on their land, that's where you lose. And that's where we have lost. Because even though we have the bigger weapons, stepping on someone else's territory gives them much more fight to fight you. Gives them much more courage to fight you. Because their mission is to save their country. I don't know what happened in Venezuela. I don't know why that went down. They obviously wanted that leader out. And I think that's part of the reason why Trump really thought that he could go into Iran. I don't even know a lot about Iran. I know that part of the reason why Iran is the way it is, and it's happened in the 70s, is because America went meddling over there and put the Shah of Iran in place, and he just became a dictator. So a lot of that is our problem because it's our fault. But from the many years that I paid even a little bit of attention to Iran, I noticed that all the other countries, including us, says, okay, we don't want you to have certain weapons because you're volatile. And they were like, no, fuck that. We can have all the weapons we want, blah, blah, blah. But they did come to an deal, and they said, okay, we won't have the makings for an atomic bomb or anything. We won't have that. And President Barack Obama, they signed a little treaty, and they were living by that. Then Trump came in, ripped up the treaty because it had Barack Obama's name on it and said, no, I can do better. We can come up with a better deal. And he's never come up with a better deal. What country has he even come up with a good deal for? Not one, because he hasn't stopped any wars, because he keeps saying it, but doesn't make it true. So but Iran is a special case, in my opinion. They're not the ones to mess with. Just like any of these countries are. They're not the ones to mess with, because once you put foot to ground, they are ready. They had years and decades to get ready for this, because they knew that eventually there was going to be some bumbleclad idiot who was going to be like, you know what? Israel, I'm cool with having your back, because Israel has been trying this for 40 years. And no president, no other country, nobody sided with them, because Iran was minding their damn business. And we should have just let them mind their business. Now, I'm not happy about Iran's government, because they went from a democracy to a theocracy, and that's not good. And they have been cruel and have mistreated their own people, but their people were rising up. And if you want change in a country, then you have to let those people rise up and take care of it. We need to be doing what the Iranians were doing about a month and a half ago. We need to rise up, because we're going to be living exactly like they are under Project 2025 and under theocracy. So we need to be paying attention to us. But Trump is over here feeding this big, roo-ha-ha, we're doing all this stuff. They're making videos and putting it on social media. And these people are so unserious with our lives. They are so unserious with how a government should run respectfully. A war is happening, and you're making football videos and cartoons of things blowing up. This is how you know these people are not serious people. They're not educated people. They screamed and moaned about DEI, and they and got rid of 300,000 jobs that Black women were, got rid of that to let in a whole bunch of yahoos who don't know, who don't want to know, don't read books. Because if they read anything about Iran, they would be feeling the way I'm feeling. Let's get them to a treaty. Let's find some way that we can all coexist. Let's not be cucks for Netanyahu. Let's not be his bitches. But Trump is. Speaking of bitches, did y'all know that Putin is helping Iran? I knew China would be helping Iran, but I thought Putin was supposed to be besties with Trump. And you know what Trump has said? Nothing. So unfortunately, the thing that I'm nervous about is, what if they have cells here? What is that going to look like? Because they're not going to forget, and they shouldn't forget. Because honestly, when we bombed their girls' school, when we started dropping bombs and killing their people, why would you forget that? Why would you forget that? The only people on earth who forgive and forgave is Black people. And we see how that worked out. We should not have. So I don't expect these people to move on even after it's over and there's a treaty or something in place. I don't expect them to be like, oh, okay, let's all try to live in peace. I don't know what stupid Israel thought that they were doing, because you're right there. You're right next door. You're right there with them. So you want to steal all the land, and you want to partner with Jared Kushner and all these other people, and you think that you're going to we'll see. We'll see. But I don't think that this is going to fare good for us. This can have long-term ramifications, because it might not be this year. It might not be next year. It could be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, when some of them little kids, some of those little Iranian children are grown men and decide, we still owe you a lick. We still owe you a lick. So this man has gotten us into this stupid war that had nothing to do with us. And at first it wasn't a war, and then but here we are 3 weeks later. He thought it was going to be 2 days. He thought it was going to be 2 days and it'd be over. here we are going into week 3. No plan, no exit plan. No, there was a plan to replace the regime with another one, and they killed all of those people that they thought that they were good, that would make good leaders, good democratic leaders. And now his son, they told his son is in charge, and he's worse than the daddy, everybody's saying. I'm just hoping that we come out of this okay, because we already see the gas prices going up. Food has been steadily going up. The price of travel and trains and planes and all that stuff is going to go up, and I hope it doesn't make it more unsafe for us to travel, because it's something I feel like as Americans, we definitely need to travel. We need to see how other countries live, because I think the more of us that travel and go see how other people live should make us come back and be very angry that our childcare is insane, our healthcare is insane, our hospitals are insane. It's just, it's tough to live here. It's tough to live here, and we have this thought in our heads that we got to hustle and hustle and hustle and hustle consistently, and we don't get breaks. And other countries don't live it. They hustle. There are a lot of first world countries. They have the mentality of working too, but then they have more benefits than we do. And we should have some benefits, and we shouldn't be stressed about health care and getting sick and paying rent and buying homes. We're supposed to be the best in the world? No, we're the shithole country. And the more you travel, the more you will see that, no, it's not them, it's us. We're the problem. So, yeah, paying attention to that in the news. And what else is going on? Again, struggling when it's just myself. But I did watch I am kind of like stuck right now on the heated rivalry. It's somebody on Instagram said, the other night I was watching the reheated rivalry, and I got it because I watched it 1,000 times. I watched it several times. Best love story ever. That's one of my high recommends. Scarpetti is on. Is it Scarpetta? Nicole Kidman, based on the Scarpetta books. That's on Amazon. Melania is on Amazon. Goodness, girl, I never wanted to punch the screen. So every time you go into Amazon, the first thing you see is her face. Tell me, I hope does somebody here watch? Because I want you to come and tell us what that movie was about. Because what has this woman done? And I know they really are propping her up the last few weeks on things. And, I saw her in a couple of speeches, high profile speeches too. And I'm shocked because for the last couple of years, we didn't hear anything from her. So I don't know what this new outlook is. And she's just out and around places. Not that we want her. And she doesn't do anything, she doesn't have a platform that we can jump on. But anyway, you log into Amazon Prime, and then there's her face. And I'm just like, speaking of platforms, Robert Kennedy Jr., biggest Kennedy disappointment, sir. So he did an interview last week about trying to counteract the high price of groceries. And his suggestion was to eat liver and drink more water. To eat liver. And it wasn't drink more water, it was something else. But I love how we have talked, especially Republicans. You've talked and talked and talked for years about draining the swamp, getting rid of the elite. And you voted in the swamp, and you voted in the elite. And I hate using the term elite because I think it's just dumb, because I feel like the way it was used and weaponized, it was a way to disregard people who had education. And education should always be the goal in every country. And we see that in other countries that are far more progressive than us. Their education is top tier. And here we've had for decades on decades on decades, people talking about the elite and and the way they talk down to us with their big words. The goal should always be education. And if you feel inferior to somebody that has an education, that's on you. And I'm talking about Trump, and I'm talking about has Hegseth, who had a Harvard education, not Bush, Ted Cruz, another one, screaming about these educated liberals or whatever. Sir, you have a Harvard education, and I'm starting to rethink these Ivy League schools because y'all have like let some trash come in there and graduate. But education is always the goal. And one of the things that I have been working on, I'm really proud to say, is and I think I told this story to you guys before. I know, am I jumping around a lot? Because it's just me. And I don't know, like, I don't, it's funny trying to have like a segue and then, you don't have somebody to help you segue. So I'm doing it and I might be jumping and I'm sorry. But one of the things that when I was younger, my mom, I grew up in, a good part of my life was growing up in the 70s, but I'm an 80s baby. But in the 70s, my mom and one of her good friends, every Saturday morning, we had Black History class and we learned about Black history. I learned a lot. I'm not saying that I retained a lot of it, but I learned a lot. That helped me to feel a certain ethnic pride in who I am. And that's a good thing. Most Black people do have that, ethnic pride. Because I think if you ask the majority of Black people, knowing all that you know and all that you've went through and all that your ancestors went through and all that your struggles, if you died today and had the opportunity to come back anything else, what would you come back as? And most Black people would say, I'd come back Black. I would. Love it. I mean, I'm pretty sure a white person would say, I'd come back white, I'd come back Jew, I'd come back Chinese. Great. And I totally get it. But for all the trauma that we've had to deal with in this country and being the scapegoat for the world, still would come back Black. Love it. Anyway, so what I was saying is that, education is like a huge part in teaching our children about Black history and about how they got here. And it wasn't just Abraham Lincoln and it's not just MLK and it's not just Malcolm X. There are a lot of heavy hitters, and I really want to create that space again because my mom and her friend did it. And it wasn't just them too. It was just, I think it was a national thing. And I think it started because of the Black Panthers. They did something similar. And they just said, okay, well, we don't have Black Panthers here. And, I grew up in Boston. We don't have that here, but let's just do that with our own kids. And I just want to coordinate something very similar because I feel like if we don't start teaching our kids, then who's going to teach them? The Erica Kirks, because that's getting very, very popular now. These churches that don't believe in them are going to. These teachers that don't even like Black children, nurses and doctors, these are the people that will set our poor babies up because they don't believe in their humanity. So we have to, at the very beginning, just grab them in and teach them about who they are and let them know that, no one is above you. And I think most of us feel that way, but obviously there are a lot of people in this world, a lot of people in this country that feel threatened by us. And it's not us. It's not us making you feel threatened. It's your own internal. So people need to deal with that. Hegseth needs to deal with that. Erica Kirk needs to deal with that. Donald Trump needs to deal with that. But they're out here preaching all day, every day that we are trying to stop white men from being great. No, do you, boo? Do you? We're not trying to stop you from doing anything. We are just here trying to exist, trying to be happy, trying to make our money, trying to go to our schools. We are not we are not sitting there on the internet talking about like how to kill white people, because obviously that's what young Republicans do in Miami, sit there and create that kind of visceral hate for somebody that they don't even know. It's crazy. Anyway, so let's not end on that note. Let's try and bring it back to something better, something kinder, something funnier. And what else? That's it. I'm not really watching anything. I'm trying to scale back a little too on TV because I love TV. I know, like, so many of y'all love movies or y'all love music. I love movies. So let me not be crazy. I love movies and I love TV. I love performance arts. I love it. But I'm not huge music fan. So, but so I'm trying to think about what the heck was I watching. I know I was watching Scarpetta this week. I know Cross is out again on Amazon. So Shrinking. Oh my God, I watched Shrinking. So I was 2 episodes behind. So I missed last week, but so I ended up watching the one before that where Derek's don't die, bald, the whole and I kept trying to stop crying. And I was like, if they kill Derek, I will be pissed because I'm mad that I think that they might kill Paul. I hope that they don't. I hope they just let him ride off into the sunset with his Parkinson's and that just be it. I don't want anybody to die because I love that show. I love every character. It's so funny. It's so heartwarming. But the last episode when he had to go into the hospital to have like a valve to his heart cleared or something. And Derek is just like he's so, everybody is just so funny. But yeah, I cried because it was so sad. But he made it out and it ended on the smile. So I'm going to watch the next episode. Also, I've been watching Monarch and I had fell behind in that. I don't know why, because I am a Godzilla fanatic. I love me some Godzilla and King Kong. And I don't like to tell people that because I'm like, do they think that I'm not mature? Because I love big action movies. That last Godzilla and King Kong, to me, I probably watched it like, I could lie and say less than 5, but I would be totally lying. It's more than 10. It's more than 10. I watch Rick and Morty every day. So somebody could probably be like, your taste in movies and stuff is like a little suspect, but I like it. I don't know. I like a good action, big action as it is. So with that, I am going to wrap it up. I don't think there's anything else. I mean, there's of course things going on, but I don't think I have anything left to go on. So everybody be safe. I feel like there's a lot of windstorms going on right now. It's like it was really warm the last couple of days, but I was out a little bit early and the wind is picking up. Saw a lot of branches in my yard, but the snow is gone. The snow is gone and it's going in most places. Hopefully they don't get any more. So until next time, you know where to find us. We are on Spotify. We are on iHeartRadio, Facebook. Where else? This is Tracy's job. This is not my job. But anyway, you know what? We are on all the streaming channels. Apple Podcasts. You'll catch us there. If you want to see us on video, you do have to watch us on Facebook and you do have to catch us on Spotify. Those two you can actually see us usually, but today is just my face and in a hat because I gotta wash my hair. But so until next time, have a great week and we will see you next week, and hopefully my girl will be back with us and she will be better and stronger and on the podcast. So till then, have a great week. Enjoy your time. It was lovely talking to you. Bye.